Frank.
Hey, Jeremy.
It's so good to see you. Happy World
Good
Food
to see
Day.
you too. Yeah, happy World Food Day to you, Jeremy, and to the team, and to all the listeners. It's just fabulous to be here with you guys. Thanks for that opportunity.
Great. Well, Frank, listen, you've been a very long-term supporter of Peace One Day. And, obviously I want to start by thanking you, Dorothy, and all the team at Unilever for the incredible support you've given us today in enabling #World Food Day to take place. So thank you, Frank. Big, huge thank you.
No, it's a great pleasure, Jeremy, and wonderful to be working together again.
Good stuff. Okay, well, let's tell the audience some interesting facts. All right, so firstly, though, I'd like to ask you, could you tell us about yourself and your journey? I mean, you're in a really interesting place and you've worked a lot with food and you've had an incredible career. So to set the scene, tell us about yourself and your journey.
Yeah, okay, so I won't drain it, Jeremy. I've been incredibly lucky to, gosh, and it's even a shock to think about it, but being with Unilever for over 2 decades, I've had a fantastic career in this business. Most of it been based in Africa. I led our foods category in Africa for just over 6 years. And then I was global CMO at our joint venture with PepsiCo, Pepsi Lipton JV, when I was based in Switzerland. And you and I got to know each other at that time, and we did a lot of great work with World Peace Day. And then more recently, the last 2 years, Jeremy, I've been based here in Netherlands, leading our Knorr brand and our cooking aids category globally for Unilever. And if I think of that career, most of it has been lucky enough to be on the foods part of our business, and so it's just great to have the opportunity to be here with you on World Food Day to help sponsor the great work that you're doing to promote the right discussions that we should be having around foods on World Food Day.
Thank you. And as you said, we did some great work on Peace Day, as we're doing here for #World Food Day. So thank you for that. Look, why, Frank, is food so important to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to food, one thing that we know the world over, and I spend a lot of my career in Africa, and in Africa sometimes it's a particularly chronic issue. But the truth is, the world over, if you ask consumers about the food that they eat, 7 out of 10 will tell you that they wish they could eat healthier, right? They have this desire, they have this sense that the way they're eating and the way they're feeding their families is not as healthy as it should be. And they have this strong desire to change that and to improve that. And the truth of it is that actually, if you look at the science and if you look at the data, they're absolutely right to identify this gap between the way that they're eating and the way that they could or should be eating. And we know that if you look across the world, if you look at the diets of people, that they're unbalanced, right? People just are eating too much refined carbs. We're eating too much sugar, too much salt. We're eating too much fats. We're not getting enough fiber. We're not getting enough veg. We're not getting enough fruit. We're not getting enough whole grains. And that has a real cost, right? That's not just a slide in a deck or a page in a textbook. That has a real cost in terms of people's health, in terms of their longevity, in terms of the quality of life for people, in terms of the health systems around the world. And although it's not so well known by consumers, we also know collectively as a food industry that has a very direct implication actually on the world's food system and on the planet. So this central challenge, which consumers are really aware of, right, which is that the food that we're eating is not the food that is not as healthy as we would like to be, is a real consumer problem with really very real consequences for the world. And I think World Food Day is a great time for us to raise this issue and lean into it and think a little bit about how we're solving for that.
Very interesting. And I'll ask you more if we have time about World Food Day. But I would like to ask you, what do Knorr think are the biggest problems surrounding the issue of food?
So I think very much in line with what I set out there, Jeremy. is what on Knorr we want to solve for, right? On Knorr, we feel driven by the desire to help consumers, eat healthier food, eat home cooked food that is, more delicious, nutritious, and convenient. Let me just pause for a second and let's reflect on Knorr as a brand. It is Unilever's second biggest brand in terms of turnover. It's measured by Kantar as the world's fifth biggest CPG brand in terms of consumer touch points. And it's been around for a long time. It began in 1838, so it's 168 years old. It was founded by a guy called Karl Heinrich Knorr, who lived in Heilbronn. And he effectively made good food accessible to all when he effectively pioneered the first dried soups, and his predecessors pioneered bouillon cubes. And for urbanizing populations in industrial era Europe, he basically made available to them foods that they were disconnected to from the farms that they came. So, making good food accessible to all is a central thought behind this brand. It's a central drive behind this brand, and it has helped, create the brand into what it is today. We talk about on Knorr, we talk about the DNA of Knorr, which is not rocket science. It is delicious, nutritious, and accessible. But it drives very much, the products that we make. It drives very much a top dish strategy. It drives very much our marketing comms. Delicious is about, hey, how can we help bring flavor to the food that people cook? Because at the end of the day, food is about joy and enjoyment. How do we bring greater nutrition, via our products, but also in terms of the dishes that we promote and encourage people to make. And of course, that means, let's reduce the stuff that's not good, salt, sodium, fats, etc. But let's also give consumer the stuff that the nutrition that they need. And I'm very proud of the fact, also coming from Africa, that Knorr has one of the biggest fortified bouillon programs in the world. And then, make it accessible. And that's all about convenience. We see increasingly around the world, consumers have less and less time to cook, right? I think on average, it's around 20 minutes. There are lots of people who are looking for food solutions in less than 5 minutes, right? So our ability to give them fantastic flavor hacks is incredibly important. So, we have this, what we call the Knorr DNA. It drives our products, it drives our marketing. Increasingly, Jeremy, we feel like it's not enough, because if we look around the world and we see, especially in younger generations, we see that fast food in particular, or bad food choices, let me put it that way, are very effective at making themselves emotionally appealing and kind of culturally irresistible and attractive. And so what we increasingly do on Knorr is we say, hey, listen, let's make the good stuff irresistible. So yes, let's be, functionally deliver on delicious, nutritious, and accessible, but let's emotionally be much more appealing. And so a lot of the work that we've been doing recently on Knorr is in conjunction with celebrities, with influencers. He's very social media first, and he's really trying to get, home cooking and good food choices into the very center of the cultural narrative. And make it appealing to younger audiences. But Jeremy, I'm at risk of draining it. So back to you.
Well, listen, thank you, Frank. That's really interesting. I mean, look, it's incredible what you're doing. Look, you're talking about nutrition, you're talking about health, you're talking about accessibility, and that's pretty fascinating. I always grew up knowing it as Knorr, but it's actually Knorr. And I'll make sure I keep putting the K in there in the future to my little ones at home as well. But I just want to say thank you, because, look, that's the story of the products that you create in terms of nutrition and health. And that's a real focus for you. But also what you're doing is enabling a conversation like this to happen across the world today. And that's really incredible that you're really walking your talk. And Frank, I know you well, and I know that you really believe in making a difference. And I know that you think the company's doing that. And of course it is. So, congratulations on the effort of Knorr and Unilever and the support that you've given us. So if people want to find out more, we've got a few seconds. If people want to find out more and support Knorr, and of course the work that you do, how do they do that?
Well, I mean, I think, buy more bouillon cubes. It's Knorr with a K. But seriously, Jeremy, I think can only encourage people, to spend a bit more time cooking at home and putting good food on the table and enjoying that with their friends and family. It's our way that we can start solving some of the food challenges we have in the world, plate by plate. And with that, Jeremy, thank you so much for the opportunity. Always wonderful to see you and always wonderful to be part of your program. Best of luck for the rest of it.